What's up guys, my name's Tom, welcome back to another video, and today here for my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode episode 35, and today is time for the Japanese Grand Prix, one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. And before starting the video, I want to apologize for not posting a My Team episode last week. I've been super busy and I'm already working in season 3, so I hope you guys understand, but let's close this season as soon as we can, because I'm really excited to show you what I have in store for the next season. But anyway, before jumping onto Suzuka, we have some work to do. I'm going to buy the final upgrades for this car, and from then on we're going to start to save resource points and money. And we have a minor one ready for our durability. It's all about the MGUK durability, and another one is going to be for the engine part, which is going to really come in handy is the on this home Grand Prix, so I really want to make a very good impression. But before going into Japan, we have a very nice invitational event at Brazil, which is going to be in 2 episodes time, and we're going to drive the beautiful 92 Williams. And it's just doing 3 laps within the 3 minutes if I'm not wrong, so it was pretty nice too. I really like these classic cars. It's a shame that I don't have time to record videos, and when you jump online you don't see many people playing with the classic cars, which is a little bit of a shame. You can see this camera angle looks pretty good. You can see the helmet, my suit. It really favors you know, what I have created. But anyway, we're just doing the laps and just showing some visuals of the car, because you don't see everyday classic cars in my channel. Is a little bit of a shame, but I hope you guys understand that I'm focusing a lot on career mode, and that 2021 mod career mode is coming out Friday, so make sure to stay tuned for that. I already posted the trailer, it was yesterday, so make sure to check that one out before you watch the first episode. Really looking forward for this next series on my channel. But anyway, through the final couple of corners, this is not really a proper corner on the last sector, and unfortunately you can see that I've been running for the entirety of the challenge in rich revs, so much that I ran out of fuel, but thankfully it's enough to do the 3 laps within the scheduled time. And there is, we passed the challenge. We're going to gain a pretty nice bunch of cash, and that's what I really want. I really like to do these classic events in order to just relax a little bit before jumping into the real action. But with everything done and dusted, we still have some things to do before going into Suzuka, and we have another upgrade ready for the durability department. I think we didn't buy these ones, they were brought by Honda, so that's really good, and they are going to really come in handy. I think in terms of grid penalties, we're not going to have more of those anymore. Talking about our rivals, I think we're going to see some grid penalties at the start of these last few Grand Prix of Season 2, but you can see winning our rivalry so far over Nobuharu Matsushita, everything seems to be set to win just our second rivalry in this career mode. I've been losing a lot of rivalries, and this is going to be just our second one. But you can see the performance shot, we are looking pretty nicely. We get the distance of AlphaTauri, and we're getting close to this train formed by the Aston Martin, Red Bull and Ferrari, so things are really looking good for us, and maybe we can overtake these guys at the end of the season. Mercedes, probably they brought, I want to say, maybe a major upgrade, so probably they're going to be in their league of their own. But anyway, we are already doing our things on practice. Pace has been really good. I've been enjoying the car, especially on the first sector, which is the reason that I love this sector. I really love the session on the first sector, so fluid, and when you have a decent car like this one, it's very satisfying to do. But anyway, like I said, the pace has been pretty good around here, and I'm really with very good expectations at the Honda's Grand Prix. I really want to put a very good performance. Remember that Lando so far this season didn't score any points, and we are looking really good to finish in 3rd place, which is the position that we occupy now in the Drivers' Championship. But end of practice 2, and we already did everything. We went to 3rd fastest thanks to the qualifying sim program, and Lando way down the other, but he is on the hardest comparative tire. But hopefully he's going to put a good show. He really needs, because I'm starting to lose my patience over Lando at the moment. I didn't have a teammate that scored points, so every single point that have been scored in this team so far in this career mode has been scored by me. So just see how depressing my teammates have been. So hopefully next season is going to be the season where we can get a decent position in you know, in the Constructors' Championship, which we are looking pretty good at the moment. If I'm not wrong, we are in 5th place. But anyway, we're going to press on. We are in Q1. Let's see if we can get out. I think it's going to be pretty easy. I think Q1, it's already formality. We might need to do another lap just to be safe, but here we go through the final couple of corners, through the chicane and through the final corner, which doesn't have any more that really annoying bug that we've been having for years, across the line. and he is second fastest, just behind Daniel Kvyat. And you can see that as we skipping forward, we are in P14, so he's not really that safe, but we have a very safe gap to P16, and Lando is ahead of us as we are in P15 now. But the gap is pretty safe, as you can see. I didn't do another lap because I think the gap was too large, so I think I didn't see any point to do another lap. But you can see that we gone through into Q2 only by just less than 1/10 of a second faster than George Russell. So that was a little bit risky, I'm not gonna lie, but I really want to save a set of tires, second set of tires for the second phase of qualifying. Because we have a huge tank slapper at the end of the first sec. That was a fantastic, a miraculous save, and we press on in this lap. So it's not going to be a brilliant one, and we're not treating the tires in the best way. If we get to the top 10 shootout, we have to start the Grand Prix in this set of tires, so definitely not the best ideal scenario. But anyway, through the final corner, hopefully this can be enough, but it's going to be really hard because we did some mistakes on that lap across the line, and it is P5 just ahead of Esteban Ocon. Make that P6 as Carlos Sainz joins the guys that set a time. But you can see that we are in the closing stages of qualifying, and I'm letting everyone going through because I don't want to get any dirtier whatsoever. Now letting through one of the McLarens and now our teammate Lando Norris, and finally I see a chance because I need to get some, some momentum out of the final corner. So hopefully Lando is not going to disturb a lap with the dirty air. Maybe he can get us a little bit of a slipstream, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to start our final lap in this qualifying session, and you're going to join me for the entirety of it. Let's see if we can get through the top 10 shootout. So through the first corner, hitting the curbs pretty nicely. Maybe I could carry a little bit of more speed as we are already losing 3/10 of a second, because in the first lap the first sector was absolutely marvelous, especially through the air sessions. But anyway, it seems that Lando is not getting in the way when it comes to dirty air as we go now through the corner where we made the mistake, and we're already improving. So just see getting buckets and buckets of time as we throw the car very aggressively. We need to have a lot of commitment through Degner, and you can see already gaining 1/10 of a second. So things are really looking good, but I believe this is not enough as we brake very hard into the hairpin. A little lockup, as you can see that I'm pushing a lot, and make sure to hit throttle as early as you can. Traction has been pretty nicely so far this weekend. You know that I struggled traction against the AI, normal in the F1 games, as now we're going through the corner that I struggled the most in this circuit, the spoon curve. A very tricky left double right hand has been hit a little bit the curve, so that was a little bit risky as Hamilton sets the provisional fastest time, and now make that Valtteri Bottas, I think, the provisional fastest time, as now we're going through 1:30 easy flat as we are gaining almost 2/10 of a second. So it's not really looking good for us to get through into the top 10 shootout, but hopefully this can be enough. I believe through the final corner, hit the throttle as early as you can. It's going to be almost a 3/10 improvement across the line. We were in P15 because Norris improved. What is going to mean is going to be P15, so not the ideal. We've been knocked out, and Lando didn't get through as well. So not a very good day. I was expecting a top 10 shootout entrance for Tom Motorsport, especially at the Honda's Grand Prix. We just went faster than Esteban Ocon. So not the ideal scenario, but never say never. You know that my race pace is generally better than the qualifying pace. So without further ado, let's go to one of the classes, one of my favorite tracks on the calendar, the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. Let's go.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Ise Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today in the Japanese Grand Prix? We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Why don't we start by talking about Valtteri Bottas? They come into this race with a healthy championship lead. I don't want to say the title race is over, but surely it's going to take something special or catastrophic to change the outcome at this point.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, Crofty. Yes, it looks like a big lead, but all it takes is a locked brake into turn 1, a sticky wheel nut in the pit stop, and that could all get turned on its head. You can never discount one more sting in the tail.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Gasly, Kvyat, Charles Leclerc and Albon, Stroll, Sainz, Matsushita and Sebastian Vettel, Bottas, Verstappen, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Thomas, Ocon, George Russell and Kimi Raikkonen, Magnussen, Giovinazzi, De Vries and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
Thanks Jeffrey, and welcome guys to the Japanese Grand Prix, Honda's own Grand Prix. So hopefully we can put a good show, because they're giving us a banger of an engine this season, and strategy wise is going to be a one-stop, starting on the softs and then switch to the hard. So it's a very straightforward one-stop. Just before starting the Grand Prix, just checking if anyone is going with the alternate strategy. The only guy that is doing that is Nick De Vries in the Williams car. So but I think it's going to be pretty much straightforward. So maybe there's not going to be any strategic mass strokes for this Grand Prix, the Japanese Grand Prix, as we're getting ready. 27 laps ahead of us. Another Mercedes, no, it is not Mercedes lockout, because we have an Aston Martin in second place. 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's lights out, and away we go. Great start against Daniel Ricciardo, and make that Max Verstappen was there side by side with the Red Bull, starting him very down the other thanks to grid penalties, as now he converts his defense maybe to a move on the inside on Lando Norris. I tried to take a look on our teammate, but it isn't enough, and we find ourselves side by side with one of the off-roaders. It is Kimi Raikkonen, and we're just gaining one position so far in this Grand Prix, as Valtteri Bottas is way down the other outside of the top 10 because he had a grid penalty, as Verstappen makes the move and he gets up into P12. I'm falling really close to Lando Norris, but at the moment maybe I'm not going to risk anything, because everyone seems to be so bunched up in this first lap. But you can see how much speed I carry through Degna, and down inside we go of our teammate. We make sure to leave him as much space as we can, and we did that. We don't want to ruin his race. He's looking pretty good for maybe scoring some good points as we go now. Send one down inside of Max Verstappen. He gets a good traction with that Red Bull chassis, really OP, as now we get a very good momentum thanks to the straight line speed of this on the power. His on the power versus on the power, and we get up into 12th place. So it's been a very good start, already overtaking Red Bull. So Verstappen seems to be struggling at the moment in the early stages of this Grand Prix, and ahead of us we already have Valtteri Bottas chasing down one of the Alpines, and he's rubbing his hands at the moment to see if he can dispatch these guys as fast as he can. At the moment the leads is Lewis Hamilton, who's trying to get closer and closer to his teammate in the championship standing. You're looking pretty good for Valtteri Bottas to gain his first F1 world title, and Hamilton's chances are getting shorter and shorter as the Grand Prix goes by, and this is the battle for second place. So you can see that you can't see Hamilton anymore, and Sergio Perez, that started in second place, is under pressure by one of the AlphaTauri. So another on the power car might score a podium in this Grand Prix. It is Pierre Gasly trying to go round the outside through the first corner, but Perez defends really nice, but he runs wide, and then he's going to allow Gasly to fight back, as they are still going side by side, and they're going side by side through the SHD's epic stuff in the early stages of this Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, as they are still going at it with a very privileged view. We have the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc in a very lofty P5, which might take, you know, is a very good chance to score a podium in this race. But finally they're still going side by side. This is not over yet, but finally now it is over. It is Pierre Gasly in a very lofty second place, as now Leclerc is trying to get a little bit of a slipstream, but that Mercedes power at the back of that Aston Martin car really helps to defend the position. But Perez once again runs wide, and it is a copycat move of what was in a few laps before. You can see the distance that Gasly already has, and Perez seems to be struggling a lot in these softer comparative tires, as they're still going at it. So it seems that as the first sector is giving us a very action-packed Japanese Grand Prix, but at the end of the day Leclerc makes the move. Perez is trying to go side by side through Degna, but he's not enough, and you can see that Perez is struggling massively. Actually, it's a thing that I've been noticing with the Aston Martin, is that we have some side-by-side action. This can be a free wide, as I try to make a move on Bottas, and Vettel goes down the inside of Matsushita. Matsushita runs wide, and this might allow Bottas to go side-by-side with the Alpine, and there he is. My confirmations are right, as Bottas is going to make the move on the Alpine. Tiny bit of contact, I believe, but he makes the move, and he's already in the top 10 in the points paying position, I should say. But anyway, like I was saying, I think the Aston Martin has been struggling a lot in these last few races. I'm trying to take a little look on Matsushita, but coming back to Aston Martin. They've been looking so good in qualifying, but when it comes to the race, they lose out of nowhere all the pace. So it's a thing that I've been noticing on the British Green cars as we go down inside through the hairpin on our rival Matsushita. We are looking so fast in these early stages of the race, in these soft comparative tires, and you can see that Perez is not the only Aston Martin that seems to be in trouble, because there is Vettel side by side with Lance Stroll, and Stroll seems to be struggling as well. So this is not just one, it's just two Aston Martin cars struggling for race pace at the moment. And Vettel cleans him around the outside and he is up into 8th place. But anyway, Bottas is now getting closer to the Aston Martin and he might try to go on inside, but Stroll covers that pretty nicely. And look, we might go inside through 130. What an audacious move that was, if I managed to make it, but that could have ended up in tears if that was just inches away of ending up in tears. And we survived, and thankfully we are still in this Grand Prix. But there is Bottas side by side through the start-finish straight, and that is now a pretty easy move, but we might get the position on the Aston Martin. Round the outside we go, and that is a fantastic move on Lance Stroll. As I'm starting to lose my voice, I need to calm down a little bit, but you can see that we are so fast against the Aston Martin. In this Grand Prix is outrageous. It's impressive to see our pace so far. You can see in the distance on the replay camera that we are pulling away pretty nicely of Lando Norris, which it seems that he's not moving places as I am moving at the moment. And there he is overtaking Sebastian Vettel. P9 is ours. He doesn't have any chance whatsoever with that Ferrari power, and we are already scoring 2 good points, but I really want more, and maybe I have a feeling that we might get a chance on the other Aston Martin of Sergio Perez if things continue like this. But anyway, we're going to pit, and what a first stint it was. We're going now to dress a brand new set of medium tires, and my goodness, I'm losing a little bit my voice because that was so audacious to go on the inside of Bottas through 130R. It would be a very epic way to overtake the Mercedes driver. But anyway, there he is. We're going to fit the hardest comparative tires, so apologies to that. He's not the mediums, as we are getting really close to Vettel. I was held up a little bit, and that was an unsafe release. Thankfully, we have ghosting system in this game, which is a thing that I really do not like. But anyway, we're going to get out of the pits, and Sainz is ahead of us miles away, and it was a reason that I had that unsafe release, because I had to wait for Sainz to go free. But there is Bottas down inside through 130 on Sergio Perez, and they're still side by side, so Bottas seems to be struggling a little bit maybe so now in these later stages of the first stint to make the move, as they're going still side by side through the first corner, and they both going to pull into the pits. So that was a little bit anticlimactic. That kind of ruined the battle. But anyway, they're going to fit the hardest comparative tire, I believe, as well. So you can see that when it comes to strategy, it's not going to be much of a bigger deal. It's a pretty straightforward one-stop starting in each tire we want. As Sergio Perez is with a very interesting strategy change. He's on the medium comparative tires, so Aston Martin thinks that they can carry those mediums pretty nicely till the end of the race, as we're getting closer to this train, and Bottas and Perez are starting to get held up as well, Carlos Sainz, because one of the Williams cars is being an absolute bottleneck at the moment, as we are trying to maybe get a look, and Perez is trying to go on the inside of the Williams. I don't have replay cameras for this, so that is a very weird battle to commentate, and the Freeze loses the position, and Antonio Giovinazzi is out of the race, but that is not going to trigger any safety car or virtual safety car whatsoever. So we progress in this Grand Prix. This has been a very boring Grand Prix when it comes to strategy, as Bottas goes down the inside of the Freeze through 130R, but the Freeze defends that pretty nicely, and Bottas brakes really early, and I almost went into the back of him, so that could have been really bad, and I would be forced to pit for a brand new front wing, and that would be our quest for good points over in this Grand Prix. But here we go side by side with the Freeze, and that's us into, I'm not entirely sure, because there are still some guys that need to make their stops. That's us into 9th place, and we're making very good inroads and dispatching these guys on the that started on the medium, that are in a very completely different race. But this is Daniel Ricciardo that started on the softs, and he is again on the softs, so it is in a very weird two-stop strategy, which is definitely not the best idea. And he is behind us, but you can see that he already dropped behind because he had to pit once again, as we skip all the way forward onto lap lap 16, side by side with Bottas and Sainz. And Bottas is still side by side as they break through the final chicane, and we might get a very good chance, try to get the switch back and try to get a good traction. We are side by side with Sainz, so that was a very well executed from us as we open the DRS, and this can be maybe a free wide moment as I'm trying to gain substream on Bottas as I squeeze very aggressively Sainz onto the pit wall, and run inside we go on the Mercedes. It can be a very nice move, but I don't have enough downforce to make the move on the silver hours of Valtteri Bottas, and we have to settle down behind the Mercedes. But that was a very good attempt and a very well executed switchback on Carlos Sainz, and this is a few laps later now. Bottas trying to go on the inside of Sergio Perez once again. Perez is starting to struggle maybe a little bit on those medium comparative tires, side by side through the chicane, with a lot of side by side action through the final sector and the first sector, and Perez so for the time being remains ahead of Bottas, but Bottas is going to have that DRS, and there he is side by side, and they are still going at it through the first corner. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Bottas that takes that position and gets up into 6th place plus the fastest lap, so trying to minimize the damage as much as he can, because who's leading at the moment is Hamilton in a league of his own. He doesn't have anyone to challenge him. The only guy that would challenge him, it would be Valtteri Bottas, because the Mercedes are in a league of his own at the moment. But here we go, slipstream. Now is our time to overtake Perez, and there you go. We don't need them to go side by side through the first corner. Copycat move of what Bottas did on the Mexican, and that's us into 7th place, and we are looking pretty good. So now ahead of us we have Bottas and then Daniel Kvyat, which seems to be under pressure from Bottas, and he doesn't have any answer whatsoever to defend off that Mercedes. And Bottas is up into 5th place, so we can see that he's making a very good comeback with that beast of a Mercedes. The next victim, it is Alexander Albon, and doesn't have any chance as well, and he has to settle down in 5th place, and that is going to be a finishing position. But Bottas at the moment finds himself in 4th place, and then ahead in the final step of the pole is Charles Leclerc and then Pierre Gasly, if I'm not wrong. So a very weird podium in this Japanese Grand Prix, as I'm now, you can see, setting personal best, pushing and pushing, trying to get closer and closer to Daniel Kvyat, but the distance is too much, so I decided to settle down a little bit and just bring the car home, and it's going to be P7 for us. And there is our race winner Lewis Hamilton winning another Grand Prix as he's trying to get closer and closer to Bottas, but the opportunities are starting to run out, and let me say that Bottas has a title on his hand. But there is another win for Lewis Hamilton, and then in 2nd place the driver of the day, Pierre Gasly, with the underpowered car, is going to cross the line in B2. What a race from the Frenchman, and the qualifying session as well. And closing the top 3 we have Charles Leclerc and then Valtteri Bottas in 4th place with a podium on his side. But for us it was a very good race. The qualifying pace wasn't that good, but our race pace generally is pretty good, and generally I managed to capitalize very nicely on the first stint with some nice moves. But Bottas has the fastest lap, but for us it's going to be a very solid 7th place in the Honda's Grand Prix. So yeah, it was a very nice day in the office.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
To be honest, I'm kind of disappointed that this Grand Prix wasn't that exciting. You know, it was just a pretty straightforward strategy. And what made this Grand Prix, you know, exciting was me, Bottas, and not even Verstappen made the Grand Prix exciting because he finished outside of the top 10. No, just in P10, but you can see confirmation results. Hamilton wins, followed by Gasly and Leclerc, and for us we scored just 6 points. But it was a very good day. We gained points against the Aston Martin. You can see Lance Stroll outside of the points, and Perez has started in second place, way down the order comparing where he started. So Aston Martin really struggling at the moment on the race, and that's not really good because race is the only session that offers points, and Norris unfortunately finished in P14. So once again, no Grand Prix points for Norris, but you can see that in the driver standings we pulled away off Perez, and we are looking pretty nicely to finish in the final step of the podium in the standings. But we still have 3 races left and everything can happen, and you can see Verstappen only in 9th place, so the Red Bulls are struggling a lot as well. So it's been kind of a disappointing season for them as they are trying to get closer and closer to Mercedes, which it wasn't the case in season 2. But you can see that in the constructor standings we are still in 5th place, but we could be easily in the 3rd place if it wasn't our teammate. But anyway guys, that has been episode 35 of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to smash like, scratch F to see plenty more Formula 1 content, really motivates me to make more. Apologies for not posting a My Team episode last week. I've been really busy and I'm already starting to prepare things for season 3. Trust me, it's going to be a bang of a season. I hope you guys stick for the fun. Apologies for my commentary, it wasn't based on this video. I had to reckon that because I'm a little bit rusty, so I hope you guys understand. But anyway, that has been me for today. My name's Tom, and I'll see you guys for a brand new video next time. But for now, take care.